Welcome to show number 931, this 10th day of March. I'm Todd Cochran, your host. You know what comes next. This is the Geek News Central podcast, bringing you the latest tech and science news, coming to you live from beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii. Sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. Save today at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Fans, strap yourself in for a great show. Geek News Central, the longest running tech podcast, is ready. It's showtime. Aloha, everyone, and welcome to Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran. I'm your host tonight, as always. And for those of you watching the video, can I screw up the intro any more than I have? For those of you that you didn't have to be subjected to it last show, but I ran the GoDaddy promo for the intro last show. And tonight, for those of you that listen to audio, you didn't hear a difference because I edited it. But those watch the video, I swear to God, I cannot push the right button here. But I'm alive. I'm well. I hope you're all doing well. We got a great show lined up for you tonight, irregardless of your, fumble fingers here of your humble host. So I hope everyone's ready for a great show. I got some. This today was wow. There's like 6 or 7 really hardcore articles that I found that we'll probably spend the majority of the time on the show tonight. So we'll get into that a little bit later. We'll talk about Comcast Cash and how you can get a hold of some Comcast Cash yourself. We'll talk about that a little later. Going to talk, of course, about everything going on in the press. We'll even talk about a little bit about Bitcoin as well. But first, some introductions. If you're brand new to the show, I want to welcome you here to Geek News Central. I want to make sure that you get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all the great content on the website. Get subscribed to all the podcasts there. And get ready for change. Not for you to subscribe to the show, but get ready for change on the website because we got something cool cooking that I'm going to be excited to launch. I'm hoping sooner than later. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But you can get hooked up with the newsletter as well. There's a link there on the website on how to do that. So really taking a close look at the Geek News Central website. As you guys know, we're getting ready to go multi-site with that. A little more. I'll wait just a few minutes and tell you more. But, of course, if you are a long-time Ohana, long-time part of being the family here at Geek News Central, thanks for being here. And thanks for being subscribed to the show. And we really appreciate your ongoing support. It is most appreciated. Of course, you can reach me real easy. To do so, you can reach me via Twitter at Geek News. You can do so, let's push the right button here, at geeknews@gmail.com as well. So feel free to reach out to me either of those areas. I know I've been getting some stuff on Facebook, on Google+. Those are in the communities. So if you're on any of those communities, make sure that you hit me up. Matter of fact, I think tonight I have to make sure to go into the Facebook page and look because I think one of you left a comment for me there to cover on tonight's show. So really any place that I'm at, we'll try to make it all encompassing at the end where I cover all your comments. But really the email is the best. It really is at geeknews@gmail.com. So again, don't have to go to gncshownotes.com anymore. Where all the show notes are at Geek News Central. Our strategy is working so far with the using some tags and some no-follow information so that Google isn't penalizing us. So that's cool. Of course, you can watch this show on the Tech Podcast channel on the Roku, on the Boxy, Samsung Smart TV, Google TV. It's a really great way to kick back and watch the show. Of course, you can listen as well. So either way, watch or listen. We don't care as long as you get the show. And being subscribed to that newsletter guarantees that you'll know when this show is available. And we want you to take advantage of the newsletter. So don't forget to, again, subscribe to the newsletter. Tonight's show is sponsored in part by our good friends over at GoDaddy.com. And, last show I promised you I would get up to speed a little more about this new product that they're offering. And it's basically called Get Found. And it's a pretty cool service. And I remember back in the early days of the web, and actually we're going to talk about 25 years of the web on the show tonight, but I remember in the early days of the web, we used to have to do all kinds of minutia to get listed on search engines, to do everything we could to get seen. Now I used to have this domain. I still own it, bbsnets.com. And matter of fact, I think that domain still points at Geek News Central. It was basically a domain I had for years. The first domain I ever bought was hafadai.com, and that is actually, I'm waiting for somebody in Guam to buy that thing from me. But someday someone's going to come around with some cash and want that domain bad. But today both those domains point at my main site at Geek News Central. But anyway, when I had bbsnets.com, it was from back when I had a BBS, and we really, we did everything to get the word out. And in the early days, it was just kind of, you had to find the sites and get listed and do all this crazy minutia really to make it happen. But GoDaddy today has made it very, very easy for business folks to be able to essentially get found. And see if I'm going to bring the right, I don't think I have the right link in there. So let me bring the right link up so I can show you guys. Essentially what you do is you put in your business information, you put your address, you talk about your business, and what they're going to do is they are going to essentially get you listed in all maybe the sites that you haven't thought about in some time. And here we go. I've got the link, and I'll bring it up for those of you that are actually okay. I don't want to do like that, so let's do this, and I'll bring this page up. So you're able to get your business listed on the top sites: Facebook, Yelp, all the different locations where you want your business to be found, Squarespace, and all these different places, all these different websites. And they've got some different plans. Starts out at $449, $17.99, and $26.99 per month. So this is a per month thing, and it really gets you all over. Get you listed just about every place you'd want your benefits, your business to be. And the thing is, if you want to be found on Yelp, that's one of the services. Bing, Foursquare, City Search, YP, of course, that's the old yellowpages.com. And you really get yourself listed correctly with your address and how your business offerings. So if you've got a business and you're not happy with the way your listings are on those sites, definitely try this product out. And really what they've done here is, it's not necessarily SEO, but they're calling it search engine visibility, helping yourself be found. And we're going to give you a 10% off on the product. Now, this isn't a huge discount, but if you get over there and you decide this product for you can use the promo code FOUND5. Now, of course, all our other offers are still available. We've got all the promo codes available for you, and a huge assortment. And I want to just take a second. I got the February reporting in, and you guys came through. It really, the extra number of hosting accounts and everything that you guys did in February is going to help go a long way. I've told you guys the lights stay on here largely because of the sponsorships of the show, and we had a really good February. So I want to thank all of you very much, very graciously for picking up a lot of product and services this month. So, and I attested to these great deals, 50% off new hosting plans with a free domain using promo code 50host7, 50% off the first 12 months of Business Website Builder. And man, you guys scooped those up big time, again, with a free domain using 50WSB7. Of course, we got 15% off your order by using the promo code GO15OFF5. We got 349.coms. We've got, again, that 10% off on the Get Found product. Plus, we've got the $1 per month different type of website builder offer, and then $1.99 economy hosting for 12 months with a free domain per month. So this is a great deal. Now, I found a couple of codes. I found a couple of codes that they supposedly expired, but was in my reporting. And I'm going to share those with you guys. I got to make sure I get the right sheet up here. So write these down. You're not going to find these on the website. But you can get 12 months of accounting web hosting for just, again, it's almost a duplicate, $1.99 per month by using the promo code HOSTOFF3, or get a .com for 99 cents by using COM99. That's still active. Now, what's going to happen is that's for the first year. The second year, it's going to revert to $9.99. So 99cent.com by using COM99. That's still a kicking, okay? So that code is still available. So you guys can use those. But they were on my report. Some of you had found them and used them, and those I thought had died, and they're not. But anyway, big thanks to GoDaddy for being a sponsor here. And definitely check out all the codes at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Share those with your friends. Tell people that you know. This is a place to save a lot of cash and really get hooked up at GoDaddy.com. All right, so let's switch gears here and move into kind of my short list of topics. I don't have a super long list tonight, which is probably good for you. But Saturday, a new media show. I had problems with the Ohanasaurus back here. What happens is, and for those of you that are watching, I'm usually able to bring up, and then you guys can see here, I can bring up the bottom monitor. Actually, let's just turn those off. Let's bring this back. And I can, well, it's not up. Oh, there it is. I can do top monitor or bottom monitor, right? So when I first started the system up on Saturday morning, the top monitor would not show up in the TriCaster. I changed out some gear, changed out cables, was pulling my hair out, and really I ran out of time, and I had to run our guest, which was Fox News anchor Clayton Morris and podcaster on, and I had to basically use a lower technology to have him brought up in his own screen on the TriCaster, and it made him kind of choppy, and it quite frankly looks like crap when I play it back. But got done with the show, and of course, 5 minutes later, I had it figured out. Something had happened with the screen resolution during an upgrade. And I made the change, and boom, up comes the video on the TriCaster. And you just want to pull your hair out. So for those of you that watched the new media show and wondered why Clayton was kind of choppy on the video, it's just because of pure stupidity and sometimes the hardware bites you in the butt. But it was a great interview, and I hope that you'll listen. The audio portion, of course, is up, so is the video. Whichever way you choose to do so, please check that out. Let's see here. I'm going to be starting a talk with my team over, and we're going, for many, many years, for the first couple of years, we had the website Podcaster News. And it was used, it was kind of our first offering of network type stuff. It was our first try at seeing where the podcasting space was going. And what I'm going to do is we're going to make podcasternews.com into a blog. And now it's just a landing page. Matter of fact, it comes up with the old PCN logo for those of you that maybe do not remember this. And what I have tried to do is I've actually tried to purchase podcastingnews.com, but I could never get the folks that own that to basically, get the domain at a, they're basically claiming that they have high page rank, and they're making a lot of money off the site still because of the traffic. So what I'm going to do is in the very near future, within the next couple of days, I'm going to launch Podcaster News as a new blog, a new podcasting blog that's specific, and it's just going to be about, it's going to talk about what's happening in the space, news and information. We'll probably have some gear reviews on there, and some of it's going to tie into some of the stuff that Rob and I do with the new media show, and also some of the stuff that Don Bain and I have planned for launch. It's going to kind of tie into this vein of content. So I am looking for some writers for that website. If you want to contribute specifically on the podcasting space, drop me an email. And this is going to be an open site. We're not going to have any subscriptions or anything like that required. But definitely drop me a line, and we'll get you connected and see if we can get you on as a writer. So again, that's going to happen in probably this week sometime as I get time, really in the evenings to do that. Also, I want to encourage all of you that have not yet become an insider to think about doing so. You can do that at geeknewscentral.com/insider. And for 6.7 cents a day, you can support the show at $2 a month. Come in at $2, $5, $10, $15, or $25 a month as a supporter. We definitely appreciate those insiders that are on. And of course, if you haven't got on the insiders websites or mailing list, definitely send Sam an email, and Sam will get you hooked up with working with the insider team. So we'll have all that information up in the show notes. So anyway, that kind of wraps me up on just the chit chat stuff here. Well, let's get into the full blown content, because man, I'm serious. Got a lot of good tech news tonight, and let me close some forms here so that we get that out of the way. That's down. That's down. Let's get rid of this, and we'll bring you up. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about initially tonight is about Comcast Cash. And we know that Comcast right now is in the midst of trying to acquire Time Warner, that the deal is pending. And there's been a lot of criticism about the deal. And the more initially I was kind of in the positive category of wanting this to change because I've been unhappy with the way Time Warner's going. But the more I've read and the more I consider really what's happened in the space, I'm thinking that my position has changed, and I'm not 100% for the acquisition, largely because it's just going to give Comcast so much unbridled power and control over the Ethernets that they are going to be able to rule things with an iron fist. And, there's not very much in Washington, D.C. that unites either a conservative or a liberal, a Republican, Democrat, a libertarian. Nothing really can, basically brings those folks together except for cash. So when many of the colleagues join in for a hearing this month on Comcast's $45 billion bid for Time Warner, most of them will have something in common. They've each collected Comcast Cash. And these companies are multi-billion-dollar companies. And what do? They write checks in big ways and as much money as they can. The cable giants donated to 32 of the 39 members of the House Judiciary Committee, which is planning on having a hearing on the Comcast acquisition. And here's an incredible thing. Comcast stresses its donations are a function of its business, and but we all know that these companies are trying to buy influence, and they say it's important for our customers, our employees, and shareholders that we participate in the political process. The majority of our PAC, and those are basically unlimited contributions, are to senators and members who represent our employees and customers. Now, how much? Comcast in normal years is a major political donor. The company spent more than $3.5 million during 2011 and 2012, again, on both Democrat and Republican candidates. And it has shelled out just under $2 million already in the 2014 cycle. That's in addition to the millions of dollars of lobbying that they spend, and big donations to charitable causes and groups. And basically this is how that works. Every senator has a charity, right? And so these charities are getting helped out. And, of course, the company has donated to lawmakers and, of course, have lobbied aggressively in Capitol Hill before winning the government's permission in 2011 to buy NBC Universal. So they have a lot of favors to call in. And Comcast apparently has a true lobby of over 100 lobbyists that's going to swarm Capitol Hill. And they want this thing to be pushed through. And their top priority is Comcast's bottom line. And we know a lot of companies donate to political folks. They're not in a league of their own. But it just goes to show you, follow the money, right? Smell that greenbacks. Where are they going? They're going into these senators' campaign funds, into their war chest. And, when you're spreading money around like that, 2 million already for 32 people, you do the math on that. That's a nice little hunk of change. It's going in for a campaign donation. And I'm sure there's a lot more of activity like this. So one way you can head this off, if you're against the Time Warner acquisition, you need to start getting on the phone. You need to start getting on the phone and calling your federal representatives. This would be your state senator and state representatives the ones that represent you in Congress, and then House representatives and the Senate. Get on the phone and tell them exactly what you feel about this acquisition. Now, if you're in favor of it, tell them you're in favor of it. If you're against it, but the more I think about this acquisition of Time Warner, the more I start thinking about one company having so much power. It's a little scary. And we see a lot of, with the Netflix shakedown and everything that's going on in the space, I think we as geeks have to get our family members, friends, people that we know, people that we work with, associates motivated to get out there and just basically work with the process. If nothing else, just picking up the phone and making that call. And if you're nothing else, say, hey, my name is Todd Cochran. I live in the state of Hawaii. I'm your congressional district. I'm also in your, I am opposed to the Comcast acquisition of Time Warner. Can you please let the senator or representative know? That's all you got to say on the phone. And you can call their local office and make sure they take down your name and tell them that you're constituent. That phone call will go in a little tally. It'll be like, they have a little checkbox, how many for and how many against. And even though the congressional rep may not change their mind, in the back of their mind, they're going to know, hey, I had 1,000 calls that were basically saying, hey, we don't want this acquisition to happen. And maybe I ought to listen because those folks are going to vote for me next time or not vote for me based maybe upon this one issue. So get out there and let's get involved in the political process when it comes to this kind of stuff. I know I've pushed this stuff in the past, but just, I think it's going to be good for us to at least have a say. And if they go ahead and allow the acquisition to happen, at least we can say, hey, we tried, or we told you so. So anyway, I wanted to share that. All right, next thing up is, on the last show, we were talking about the explosion that was going on over Bitcoin and the Bitcoin founder. And like moments after I stopped the show, the stories had updated. And the Newsweek target, basically about Dorian Nakamoto, he basically had taken the press through Los Angeles and ended up in the AP headquarters. And AP published a very long piece about saying he categorically denies that he's the guy. Now, here we are. We're Monday here, March 10th. This thing has had a little bit of time for broiling and to be vetted a little bit. And there's a lot of doubt whether or not he's truly the guy, but the folks at Newsweek are standing behind their story still. So, I'm of the opinion to give Newsweek the benefit of the doubt at this point in juncture. I'm not a Bitcoin expert by any means. I don't own any Bitcoins. Matter of fact, if you want to donate me some Bitcoins, I'd be happy to take donations in Bitcoin. But it makes you go, because this guy's been real good at covering his tracks. He can say, no, I'm not it. And he's got the benefit of the doubt going for him. But then again, if he had that many Bitcoins, $400 million worth, you would think, based upon his financial situation, which doesn't look to be very good, that he would have cashed out some of those Bitcoins by now. I don't know. But, there could be a lot of things going on behind the scenes that this guy's, done a fabulous job of covering his tracks. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that the guy that Newsweek found is the founder of Bitcoin? He's the one that created it, invented it. Would love to hear your thoughts on this, and email me here at the show at geeknews at gmail.com. Again, geeknews at gmail.com. Now, another thing that's interesting As you know, we're all, $500 million lost by Mount Gox and their entire fiasco, which is getting a lot of press right now, because some people are, basically the Mount Gox CEO's Reddit account was hacked, his blog was hacked, their website was hacked, and basically they're saying that they believe there's fraud at many, many levels. But Bitcoin continues, even with all this money being. Can you imagine how much money there's? When you're talking about millions of dollars being lost, and this guy probably has to have a production detail, because even though he's in Japan, these folks are tired of losing money to stupidity, and it could bode very bad for this guy if the wrong type of person gets PO'd. Especially you get some Russian mafia syndicate, or someone that has been storing bitcoins in there, and maybe they're involved in the legal or illegal, how should we say, drug trade, or just the general guy that's got a lot of money in there and it's lost, and he's lost his mind to come after this dude. He could be in he could be, in some danger physically. Now, we don't want anything to happen to, obviously you don't want to see something happen, but you're talking this kind of dollars, people get really, you think about you losing a big bunch of cash, how mad you would get. Some people take that to the extreme. So you think, where's Bitcoin going? Well, it's priced right now $600-700 a Bitcoin right now. But at South by Southwest, there is a Bitcoin ATM. And I thought, a Bitcoin ATM? And how does that work? Well, it's just like a regular ATM machine, except it's a little different. The ATM experience is pretty extent. To use it, now again, this is a Bitcoin ATM where you can cash in some of your Bitcoins. So what happens is you must submit your phone number, a PIN number, a government ID, a palm vein scan, and you have to allow it to take your photo. This is to comply with anti-money laundering laws that require money service businesses to keep certain records on their customers. Now, cashing out Bitcoin can take up to 15 minutes because, now I don't understand how this works, because the currency is designed so that every transaction must be verified by users in the network. Now, I don't fully understand why that has to happen, but I guess that's the way it does, and someone that's used Bitcoin can explain that to me. The price of Bitcoin is also higher at the ATM than it is online because of the convenience of using cash, as well as the fees charged by the operators. It's called a RoboCoin ATM. It costs you $200,000 to roll one out. Then an additional $25,000 to $75,000 in float. In other words, the amount of cash that it takes to stock it. And a guy by the name of Mike Peary bought 3. He put 1 in the bar, Handlebar, 1 in the coffee shop, Dominican Joe's, and 1 in the convention center. In a little over 2 weeks, they processed more than 400 transactions. He says mostly from people buying Bitcoin. And so, with the virtual currency trading between $600 and $700 a piece at this time, of course, with the bad press going on, it's still rocking and rolling, still moving, even with all these rip-offs that's happened. So, again, we'll take donations of Bitcoin. I don't know how you would donate a Bitcoin to the show. I guess I'll have to get spooled up on that. Might be a little fun. If you believe in Bitcoin, you send Bitcoins. If you don't believe in Bitcoin, send cash. But it could be it's something I'm just going to have to play around with a little bit. I haven't even tried it, to be honest with you. But this guy wanted to pay his rent, so he cashed in 6 of his Bitcoins and got about $3,000. And so, that was, I guess he had to pay. He's from San Francisco, so of course he's from LA, so of course his rent was $3,000. But anyway, pretty cool. Link will be up in the show notes. All right, we've talked about Alzheimer's a lot on this show, and of course, I like to cover stuff that's in the medical side as well, a little bit from a techie point. But we've all talked about 3D printing and how it's going to change. It's going to be soon. They're going to be able to basically print replacement parts for us, whether it be a kidney or a liver. There's lots of complexities to that, but it is going to happen. I would predict within the next 10 years. But they've got a new test for Alzheimer's, and Alzheimer's can be predicted 3 years advance with a new blood test. Now, 3 years advance notice is not a lot, but they're saying all it takes to predict an individual's likelihood to developing Alzheimer's disease within the next 2 to 3 years is a blood test. So, in a study, scientists drew blood from 525 healthy adults over the age of 70. Then they tracked their health for a period of 5 years. At the end of the period, 28 of the study participants had developed Alzheimer's disease or the cognitive impairments that tend to precede it. So the research, now that's pretty scary, 28 of the 525. So researchers then went back and analyzed the participants' blood to figure out what set these adults apart. As it turns out, the secret to detecting Alzheimer's disease resides in our fat. The study revealed that people go on to develop Alzheimer's disease have lower levels of 10 specific lipids in their blood compared with people who stay cognitively healthy. This, the researchers say, could be an indication of early breakdown of certain populations of neurons in the brain. So I'm not going to go into the details here, but here's the thing that has me really, really worried. Now, currently, the insurance companies by law are not supposed to, you're supposed to be able to get insurance even if you have pre-existing condition. And usually Alzheimer's comes later in a later stage of life, but not so late that you're not still could be a productive citizen if you didn't have it. So what happens now when, you get this blood test at, let's say, 60 and nothing shows up, and going for your physical at 61, 62, 63, they pull this and they run this as part of a standard test. And at 70, they say, hey, you're going to get Alzheimer's. Well, that comes with a whole host of economic, social issues, family stuff. Now you got some time to plan and maybe do some stuff health-wise to try to prevent it. But at the same time, if they don't have a treatment for it, you're going to come down with Alzheimer's. It's not going to end well, and it's going to bring hardship to your family. And any of you that have had someone with Alzheimer's in your family, you know how hard it is. So the question, though, is what's going to happen to our insurance rates? Or what's going to happen to, are you going to get this label? If you're working, are you now going to risk losing your job? With the government having all this data on us, and all of a sudden you get this marker that you're going to be, you're going to get Alzheimer's, is it going to lower other medical services you get? Let's say you need a hip replacement, or you need you've got some sort of valve replacement that needs to be done, or are they going to all of a sudden say, well, you're going to have Alzheimer's in 3 years, it's not worth investing the money? It's really kind of a slippery slope, and it really kind of scares me when they're able to really detect what's going to happen to you as you get older based upon a blood test. But they're thinking that detection could be extended out 10 to 20 years. So what happens if you're told at 50 you're going to have Alzheimer's when you're 70? And are people going to want to make use of this crystal ball that would say this is what's coming? Because people could go into deep depression and you require psychiatric help and all this stuff. So, it makes you go, just a little bit, doesn't it? It should. It does me. All right, very sadly, of course, there was the Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 crash. The hunt is on, as we know, for the number one. At this point, it's very unlikely that they're going to find survivors, but they're trying to find the airplane, find the debris, find a flight recorder, determine if this was done by, what just, the aircraft breaking up, or was there a terrorist incident, or, a lot of questions in this, and a lot of people going crazy in Asia right now, and you feel bad for the families and everything else. But the 777, I've flown 777 for many, many years. And it's a fantastic aircraft to fly. And having, as much aviation experience as I have, airplanes are, the most critical part is when you take off and when you land, and, basically climbing through the altitude. Once you're in cruise, it's like, time to go to sleep. And usually the pilots, they have a relief pilot, or, someone goes crash. It's pretty, there's no real stresses on the airplane except for pressurization. It's smooth sailing. And for an aircraft just to come apart, and if it was a catastrophic failure, it must have been really, 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 really bad if they weren't able to get any indications at all from the flight. So it just makes you, and typically airplanes just don't come apart. It just doesn't happen. So we'll see if they find the aircraft, and and I'm sure this is going to be going on for many, many years. But, finding the red box, can you imagine, they're trying to find this aircraft. Number one, now they got to try to find the debris. Once they do, they got to find the debris field, and it could be separated by many, many miles. And then they're going to have to use submersibles to go down and get the red box if it's still intact. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. It really is. So we'll see what happens here. But no sign of the aircraft yet. And as days go on, it's going to be much, much harder. But hearts and prayers go out to those families for sure. All right, let's go back, talk just a little bit about South by Southwest. Snowden was on today via teleconference, and I guess talked to a packed house. But lots of other stuff going on, lots of different events. IBM served up a 6-course tasting menu and gave out food samples to show off Watson, the computing system best known for winning Jeopardy for 3 years. And basically, they asked Watson to analyze thousands of recipes and match chemical flavor compounds that are most likely to surprise people. So they had a little bit of a test. They had a little tasting session from folks. And they had some events. Of course, a lot of people were launching apps and so forth there, and talk about different types of apps and so forth that are going out there. But biggest challenge people had was people's phones were going dead. But anyway, there's a good rundown on a variety of websites about what happened at South by, or what's happening at South by, and I'll have some of those link up in the show notes. One thing that's being big right now, besides all the news on what Uncle Sam has done, and again, we won't go into any of that history, but we'll talk a little bit about what's happening on the business side of data collection. And, the data brokers out there are basically selling our information like it was a commodity. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that collects, analyzes, and sells personal information of virtually all of us in America with virtually no oversight. And there was a great interview done. It was a script from the Data Brokers, which aired on March 9th. Steve Croft is the correspondent. Graham Messick and Maria, Gavralovic are the producers. And it's an interesting read. And I think it basically talks really about what's really happening in this space. And if you read through this, you can just about be guaranteed to know that they understand everything about us already. And all they're really doing is updating our profiles. And, what they're trying to figure out now is they want to know when Todd is driving down the road and getting close to a store where they can send a text to my car or to my cell phone and tell me about some deal, about something that they know interests me. and so they can get me in a door to buy some sort of a special. And but there's the data brokers are collecting all kinds of information, including those afflicted with a particular disease or condition, alcoholism, depression, psychiatric problems, history of genetic problems, cancer, heart disease, you name it. Tracking sexual orientation. They're looking at all this information about us on the health side, as well as probably our spending habits and our, and they probably know what we're drinking. And data brokers have been flying under the radar for years. We all know that they're out there. And they definitely prefer that the general public knows a little bit as possible about the industry. But at some point, someone's going to have to bring these folks under control. A company named Exact Data, check this out, is brokering the names of people who have had a STD, as well as lists of people who have purchased adult material and adult products. That's pretty incredible. How would they know if you've had an STD? Well, that information is supposed to be private, right? Between you and your doctor? Well, they're basically saying based upon the type of drugs you've been prescribed, they can tell. And the actual quantity at one time, which is pretty nuts. Now, who wants this information? Well, a lot of people. Department of Motor Vehicles, pizza parlors, retailers. This is not just, and if you really look at what they're collecting, they want to know everything about us. They want to know what we watch, what we listen to. They want to know, how many miles we're driving a month. They want to know where we're shopping, where we're going to dinner, on and on and on and on. Now, one of the largest data brokers called Axiom, ACXIOM, ACXIOM, a marketing giant that brags it has on average 1,500 pieces of information on more than 200 million Americans. So 1,500 pieces of information. Wow. 1,500 pieces of information. I didn't know there was 1,500 pieces of information to collect about me. But this is you need to read through this. If you're going to freak out when you see this. When you go through this and look at the depth that they're going to market to us. But we also have to remember the Direct Marketing Association is one of the most powerful lobbying groups in Washington. Its members include Google, Facebook, and of course, all these other data collectors. So read through this interview, and if you're not surprised, let me know that you're not surprised. But there's an incredible amount of data that is being collected on. This is on cbsnews.com, the website. Have the link up in the show notes. Just listen to the 15-second video intro on this, and it'll make you sit back in your seat a little bit. All right, so let's talk just a little bit about the web. The web at 25 years. The World Wide Web you're looking at wasn't always something most people considered worth a second glance, let alone hours, days, weeks, years of nonstop staring. In fact, even some of the big info nerds of the day ignored or dismissed it. We know that one of the earliest demonstrations of the web came back in 1991 when a man named Tom Berners-Lee sat at a table with a computer at a Texas hotel conference room, willing to give anyone with a few minutes spare a personal introduction to his invention. And the web has obviously changed the world. And I think back to, I've told you guys this on this show before, of all the stupid domains I bought back in the day. I bought hoffadai.com. I'm so proud of myself. bbsnets.com. So proud of myself on those two domains. But at the time I bought those domains, I could have bought software.com. There was just literally no one was buying domains. They really weren't. And what I did was I had a BBS. It was dial-up time. And so let me just take you back on just to tell a little story here. And I've told this before, but when I moved to Lemoore, California, I was still in the Navy, or I was obviously in the Navy. And from 84 to 87, I had lived in Guam. So no, let me get the years right. 84 to 87 in Guam. 88 to 91, I lived in Lemoore, California. Then 91 to 94, I lived back in Guam. So in like 90, so that'd have been the year 84 to 87. 88 to about 90, maybe even 89. Going way back, I got hooked on the bulletin board scene. First thing I bought was a 1200 baud modem. I had a Commodore Colt with a 76 was it meg? Or yes, probably 76 meg hard drive. Oh, I was king of the hill. And then when we went to 2400 baud modems in 96, and that's a whole nother story. But when I left Lemoore and went back to Guam, I was traveling a lot, and really, my BBS was, I lived on base, and but a few years into my tour in Guam, got a divorce, and I was living out in town with essentially no money because I was broke from my divorce, and I was spending a lot of time in my apartment. I had all my computer gear, and my bulletin board was still there. So when you're broke, what do? You spend a lot of time doing BBS stuff. And so for me, getting data to my board was the most challenge because I had to get it from the States. And I did all kinds of stuff, went through CompuServe, for those of you who remember it. And I did telnets and R logins and pulled data from the mainland. And what really got me out of my financial slump was I was, basically around this pay board with 4 lines. And people would come in and get their shareware fix, and they would use FidleNet. For those of you that don't know what that is, just look it up. And it was really an exciting time. And then I heard about this thing called the web, and bought a domain name and had an email. Oh my God, had email. And what I had a gateway email that was even more crazy. One email address would be the gateway, and it would send. I could send stuff. Get email from people in the mainland through and distribute it. And not everyone had their own email address. Oh my God, having an email address was huge. So it was pretty crazy what happened in those years. And I was the first guy really that was in Guam that had this great connectivity back to mainland. And I was, even though my board was making money and I was at a $400 or $500 bill every month from CompuServe and the long distance and everything involved to get the data back, but I was doing well from the subscription standpoint, so it really kind of dug me out of a hole. But when the web started really kind of getting going in the early 90s, again, BBSs, America Online, that all was where everything was at. And but it was a fun time, and it's just if you've been in the space for as long as I have, having started on dial-up boards and moving to the web and then retiring the BBS and having a blog and a podcast, it's been crazy. It's been a great ride. And if I look back, I think in 25 years, has it really been that long since we've been online and doing cool stuff together? And for me, it's just like, holy crap, 25 years? Are you kidding me? That's what really is kind of blown my mind at this point. And to think that, we were doing and I wasn't BBSs were around before I got into it. I run a Wildcat board. I mean, I was a true hardcore Wildcat guy for years and years and years. And spent a lot of money. A lot of money. A lot. Had one of the first internet connected boards when I came back I was living in Maryland, and had my whole BBS system in a closet. I wish I had a picture of that. It was truly a closet. They had a room for a little skinny desk. The computers were here. The modems were stacked everywhere. Fans blowing on things to keep things cool. And I had a 10 megabit line directly connected to the net, and it was smoking fast. It was a lot of fun, and I spent a lot of time in that closet, almost to the detriment of my new wife. God bless her. She put up with a lot of crap in those early days, with me just going and being on the board. It was crazy, but this is a great thing to kind of reminisce and think about. I just wanted to share it with you guys. Seen that article talking about 25, and many of us being really dial-up addicts at the point, not necessarily on AOL. Matter of fact, I hated people who are on AOL. I was like, such losers on AOL. And but boy, I know a lot of people that bought stock in AOL and did very well. Luckily, they sold it before it went in the crapper. So anyway, I digress. I got a lot of stuff. I'm never going to get through everything today. There's no way. Hey, here's what Ukraine's saying. USA Today reports that Ukraine may have to arm itself with nuclear weapons if the United States and other world powers refuse to enforce a security pact that obligates them to reverse the Moscow-backed takeover of Crimea. Do you even know that we have a pact with Ukraine? Did you guys know that? How many of you actually knew that we promised to support them? I don't think a lot of people know that, but we did. Are we doing anything? Nothing so far. All right, over on Lifehacker, the difference between a DSLR and a smartphone camera in video form. If those of you that are using your cameras for all forms of video, watch this video, and see what you're missing. Link will be up in the show notes. Hey, Warner Brothers investing $18 million in struggling Machinima. After months of rumors, Warner Brothers is now making its $18 million investment in Los Angeles-based YouTube network Machinima. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but the investment comes after Machinima was forced to lay off 30% of its staff last week, including its entire ad sales department. So this is an interesting investment. They think it's worthwhile, but just to show you, making money with video is very, very hard. Audio is still king. SpaceX third space station resupply flight gets 3-sided mission patch. Preparations are underway for the launch of SpaceX third cargo flight during SpaceX commercial resupply service, or CRS-3. The Hawthorne-based company's Dragon capsule will carry almost 5,000 pounds of supplies, and it's the third of 12 cargo missions contracted by NASA, so that's forthcoming. But they've done some software updates and so forth. But we will see where this leads. When is the date? When's the launch date? It's got to be soon. Do they tell here? Dun, 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 dun. It's March 16th. So coming up this weekend, we'll have a launch to the International Space Station. As well, NASA astronauts and 2 cosmonauts have basically had landed in, I believe, Kazakhstan. So NASA's astronaut Mike Hopkins and Russia cosmonauts Oleg Kotov and Sergei Rezhnitsky left the station. And they touched down in Central Asia, Kazakhstan at 11:24 tonight. And everything seems to be fine. The Soviets are on scene to extract them from the capsule. I mean, you saw the Cosmos show last night. I missed it. We had a Honolulu festival. We went down and watched an incredible fireworks display here. But I did have it on DVR, so I am going to watch it probably tomorrow. But so far, mixed reactions to it. But Definitely a great show for the kids and adults alike. Love to hear what you thought about Cosmos. Of course, we know with competition, it always brings prices down, right? Not always. Competition in the U.S. wireless market has definitely increased, but so has overall mobile phone bills. So just because there's competition doesn't mean the price goes down. And sadly, they just continue to up, up, and they try to make it look like we're saving money. But average monthly revenue, customers across the country basically paid 2.2% higher on their phone this year than they did last year. Not a lot, but still 2% annually is quite a bit increase over multi-years. Sonos, I'm a big fan of their products and services. Sonos sold $535 million worth of internet-connected speakers in 2013. Congratulations to them. This represents a 97% year-over-year growth. So very, very cool that they're doing well. Hey, did you guys, one thing I noticed on Google today, I went to Google, did a search, and you used to have that advanced search function. Maybe I've been totally out of it, but that's gone. And, I needed to do like this complex search to find something, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it. It really kind of peed me off a little bit, and I basically went over to another site that allowed me to really make some real detailed, adjustments, and boom, I found what I was looking for, but I couldn't find it on Google. That's a first in a long, long time that I couldn't find something on Google. Google's also changed up their layout. If you haven't noticed, definitely take a look at that. All right, over on Torrent Freak, we're going to really switch gears here. U.S. court has ordered the seizure of DVD ripping software, domain servers, and funds. The New York Federal Court has granted the seizure of several domain names, bank funds, and social media accounts that belong to a DVD ripping software company. This is first in a long time. DVD Fab, gone, done. They're basically been sued out of existence. And the broad injunction is unique in its scope, ordering several domain registers to disable all domains associated with the DVD Fab group. This includes dvdfab.com, dvdfab.net, dvdidle.com, 3D Video Convert, just on and on and on, this full list. And they've seized them all. And the Chinese software vendor is not giving up easily and is already making a comeback. Existing bookmarks for either, basically, they're just putting more sites up. So we'll see what happens here. But they also took some bank accounts. I thought DVD ripping was like, we've been doing that for years, right? What's the renewed legal actions with this? I don't get it. All right, with the I should have talked about this with Cosmos, but science TV shows are enjoying a small renaissance, and a bunch of science shows are basically doing a lot of publicity. So a lot of them are making a comeback. So probably a good time for them, a good time for people to launch science shows. True Detectives, the finale crashed HBO Go. I've never watched this specific show, but it appears that the servers couldn't handle it and got took out when people were trying to watch the final episode. I have to say something here, and again, I don't want this to turn political, but I've told you guys before that I'm watching what Glenn Beck's doing. Of course, Glenn Beck, either you love him or you hate him. Most people hate him. Some people, he's got a huge fan base though. Radio, and he's got his online television network. And I've been watching what he's doing and how he's building his network. And just, I think I paid the $5 a month to get in their site and look at their production. And really, it's been for me educational from the standpoint of how they're doing it, how they're making this, basically building their own network, a guy that's got a lot of money to do that. And there's been a lot of people that have been, they basically think he's a nut job, and a lot of people have been saying negative things about it. So I was reading a website today that basically talked about, and I didn't know he was making a movie, but he's making a movie about Edison and Tesla. And so to be curious to see, and basically some folks that um, some think that Tesla is a kook. Some thinks that Edison stole stuff from Tesla, on and on and on. So we'll see how this movie turns out. But it's interesting to see this crowd say, well, he's not going to talk about politics. He's going to talk about this topic. And they're kind of bamboozled. But what they're doing on their network, while much of it's politically focused, is they've got a lot of just regular content too. And bringing in producers. It's just not, this, rah, political, this political commentary. It's a lot of stuff that they're doing, documentaries, and they're doing, I guess, investigative journalism, that kind of stuff. And it's kind of interesting to see what they're doing. And I don't care if you're a fan or not, but if you got to check out what they're doing. It is kind of interesting to see really rise from nothing to where they're at now, and the type of programming they're doing. I think there's it's interesting to watch from a media perspective standpoint. But just saw this article tonight. Thought I would. I've told you guys before that I was watching what they're doing over there. The guy has an incredible, huge following. I heard somewhere where he did like one day on his show. He did a fundraising campaign for something and like raised $1 million in like 4 hours or something. It's crazy. I just like. He raised $1 million in 4 hours. That doesn't come from a small fan base at all. Not at all. Hey, I want to show you guys something. And if I lived in the UK, actually, this is not in. I don't believe it's in the UK. But if you're looking for a space, and you've got about $340,000 laying around, there's a nuclear bunker with its own hospital and it's got a studio, and it can be yours. You can buy this. According to the listing, it's a 26,000 square foot space known as Kultibragen, and it's one of the last most technologically advanced bunkers ever built in relation to the Cold War. It features all the typical accoutrements that one might need to weather a nuclear attack, like air filtration plants, backup generators, water storing tanks, and it even allows for easy upgrading of the machinery. Can be pulled out and replaced thanks to removable concrete flooring. And there's also a BBC broadcasting studio, which you could use to provide play-by-play of the apocalypse. Would this be a cool place to own and have as a studio? It looks a little weirded out from obviously anything underground is going to be probably fraught with a lot of moisture and incredible air conditioning costs and everything else. But 26,000 feet, but it's square feet. But the bunker's up for auction. $332,000 is pretty much a steal because it'll cost almost $50 million to build. The auction is on March 27th. If I had a pile of cash, this thing would be awesome to turn into, make it a huge studio. You could do some crazy stuff with this. But if you're looking for your own nuclear fallout shelter, this is available. Now, where is this thing actually located at? It's POW camp that the bunker sits upon was built in it's somewhere in the UK. It doesn't say specifically where it's at, but I think it would be pretty cool. Talk about a retirement project. Probably a retirement money pit is what it would really be. But it could be fun. And if the apocalypse actually happened, you'd have a place to go. You really would. All right, where are we at on time? Boy, I'm just really blowing time here. Hey, Verizon's saying it's a mistake to abandon subsidized phone plans. Maybe they're finding out that people aren't replacing their phones every 2 years when they have to buy it full price because they realize that this thing just cost me $500 or $600. So they're being very cautious and moving full forward into that, unlike AT&T and T-Mobile. Switching topics, Audi's in-car LTE from AT&T will cost at least $16 a month. But if you buy an Audi and it has this in it, you get 6 months free. but you'll get basic plan cost you $16 a month to have your car connected. McAfee is saying that they're uncovering 200 new cyber attacks per minute. They did detect 200 new cyber attacks per minute in 2013. That's an incredible number. How do you defend that? There was a total of 200 million malware variants uncovered in Q4 2013. By contrast, of 110 million malware variants were detected during the same period in 2012. That's just an incredible big number. How are any of our machines not hacked? That's the question. All right, over on Computer World, Neil Young, the musician, is launching a hi-fi music player via Kickstarter. It's called the Pono Player, designed to surpass the sound quality of MP3 files. So I'll have a link up to the Kickstarter. You can check that out. So if you're an audiophile, you may want to consider checking it out. All right, over on ours, iOS 7.1 on the iPhone 4. They're saying this is probably it for that phone. It's as good as it's going to get. So you can patch to 7.1, but the performance is they've just about inked about every pot of performance they can get out of iOS 4. On the iPhone 4 with iOS 7.1. So I don't think I've upgraded yet to 7.1. But I guess it's available, so I guess I should. But definitely get your upgrade and enjoy the performance increase. There's an article about a French security expert, Eric Folloy, who was scheduled to give a talk on Friday about the possibility of cyber attacks on critical infrastructure facilities in the United States. But the talk, titled Hacking 9/11, the next is likely to be even bigger with an ounce of cyber, was canceled yesterday, less than a week before it was presented at the CanSec West Security Conference in Vancouver, British Columbia. CanSec West organizers said that the French and U.S. governments had intervened, classifying this guy's presentation apparently because of fears that criminals and terrorists could use his roadmap for carrying out attacks on power plants, electrical grids, and other pieces deemed critical infrastructure. This guy definitely got the wrong type of attention with his presentation. I didn't know that they could just do that. That they could just say, hey, I guess it depends on what this guy's prior job was. If he had the right type of job, maybe he had to give it to the government for review before he presented it. I don't know, but interesting that he is not going to give the presentation because they're worried about national security. All right, Apple TV updates hides unwanted channels with ease. So the update to iOS 7.1, we know that Apple TV also received a software update. So grab that, and if you got icons of Apple TV that you don't want, you can get rid of them. A cool article on a $70 dongle that they feel can stem the epidemic of password breaches for folks that are running small web services. I'll have that up in the show notes for those of you that are web developers. Comcast has basically burned Netflix again by snagging season 1 of House of Cards. They were able to make a deal with Sony. Comcast will now sell its subscriber access to the first season of the political drama through its own Xfinity store. Wow. But they've cut Netflix out of the picture for its basically sending its signature show. So, again, Comcast playing a hardball here. And I thought Netflix owned that. I'm just kind of surprised that happened, but I guess I don't know the pertinence of the deal. Hey, there was a drone that was demonstrated at South by Southwest. It's a stun gun droid and capable of giving an 80,000 volt shock, and they demonstrated it. It's called the Chaotic Unmanned Personal Intercept Drone, designed by Chaotic Moon Studios. And the company says it could one day be used to incapacitate criminals. Just what we need, a drone with a stun gun. One thing that we did see at the fireworks last night was they had lots of people were flying the small drones with GoPros on them, taking pictures of this fireworks display. It was quite annoying because they're right above our head. And I told my wife, I said, if one of those guys makes a mistake and crashes, it's going to crash right into it was a huge group of people there, and I just thought to myself, this could end badly. But luckily it didn't. Hey, NASA is acting those of you that are astronomers out there to become asteroid hunters, and they're offering up $35,000 reward over the next 6 months. Details will be up in the show notes. Essentially, they want you to help hunt for asteroids and catalog them. Skip that article. That one wasn't going to make the cut here. The court has denied NSA's request to hold phone records beyond 5 years. So Slashdot read, in this case, is coming from Slashdot. As Slashdot readers remember, last month, U.S. government petitioned the court system to let NSA retain phone call metadata for more than 5 years. And the FISA court has ruled against the request. Basically said that the proposed amended procedures would further infringe on the privacy interests of U.S. persons whose telephone records were acquired in vast numbers. So basically, I guess they have to get rid of them. So a bunch of data is probably going to be deleted. Hey, those of you that are interested in what's going to be happening with the Apple Spaceship Campus, there's been all kinds of details that have been dished out. I'll have the link in the show notes for you on that. Let's see what else. Last article tonight is, Google is trying to figure out how to do search in the app age. And basically, smartphones are undercutting traditional web browsing. And they say a new tack is needed for ads. It always goes back to the ads, folks. It's not about the search. It's about the ads. All right, close to wrapping here, but I want you all to drop me an email, geeknews@gmail.com. Tell me how you've liked the show recently. Give me any suggestions if you would. If I've been destroying the English language, please feel free to call me out on that. And I know I did get an email. I'm supposed to watch a video to learn how to pronounce a certain country. Actually, not a country, but a province, I believe. Newfoundland. Did I pronounce it right? I'm just wondering if I did. Ross, I haven't watched the video yet, but I'll definitely check it out. I got an email from Jeff talking about Samsung's Music Internet Radio service is only for Galaxy devices. I'll have that link up in the show notes. Let's see, what else do I have in here that came in from the previous? Also, Game Stick Review, low-cost Android console gaming has potential. Article that was over on ZDNet. So I'll have that up in the show notes as well. Hey, that's going to kind of wrap it here. Again, geeknews@gmail.com. And if you want to leave a audio comment, you can do that via the website. There's a link on that. Please support my sponsor here, Geek News Central. GoDaddy. But also, I want to make an offer to you. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, you're going to see that there's a new banner on Geek News Central. And what I want to encourage you to do is take advantage of that banner. Click on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a month free of Blueberry Media Hosting. So, really, we've come up with the perfect recipe for podcasters. 1 part PodPress, 1 part WordPress, a dash of PowerPress, add Blueberry Media Hosting, and you've got an incredible combination there to get you up and get you running as a podcaster. And we're going to give you a month free of media hosting service. So definitely check out the offering. And again, if you don't follow the banner and you get over to blueberry.com and get to the checkout counter, use the promo code Geek News to get you a free month. Okay. And just a little offer there for you that are for those of you thinking out. And we will actually, if you're hosting with someone else, we're transfer up to 10 gigs of your data. We'll move it over for free. We'll get you off that service that you may be locked into. Get your own .com, get your own WordPress site. You can get a .com and a WordPress site from GoDaddy, and we'll take care of the media hosting for you. So that's important to separate the media hosting from the website because, as I've learned, it doesn't mix well when you have them both together. Those of you who've been here from the beginning know that as well. But that's it. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the Ohana. All the longtime listeners, I definitely appreciate your continued support of the show. And those of you that are insiders out there, thank you so much for being an insider. It's really, you're making a difference. You are. And for everyone else that did great, that purchased GoDaddy products last month, thank you. I definitely appreciate it. All right, that's it. We'll see you next time, everyone. Take care. And aloha. And those of you on YouTube, I did not have the chat up tonight for some reason. I forgot to launch that. But we'll be taking down the live stream here in just a second. I'm shutting down all the recorders first. All right, almost there. And apologize wasn't up on chat, but if you were there watching, feels free to send me an email. A lot of stuff covered tonight. Show went crazy long. Oh, we had a lot of people on the stream tonight. I just saw the stats. All right, those of you on YouTube, thanks. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.